How would life change if you were filled with cosmic love? The love of God's Spirit. That to me is what it means to be about my Father's business, as Jesus said. We can reason there might be more to that statement, more things that fall under that category of the Father's business. But one of them I think is to be filled with cosmic love so that it can flow with and through us as we go through life. This is how more of humanity can discover about this great and infinite flow of love that we normally lack on a human level alone. I can go through life for potentially decades and never know anything about cosmic love. I've only focused on the handful of people I naturally love, like family or friends. When we enter into a relationship with someone, we tend to love them greatly at first, and over time it might weaken. Perhaps we notice more of their supposed flaws and we lose interest. This happens all the time in relationships. Can we somehow find a form of love that is so strong that we no longer have these ups and downs when in a relationship, but also that we no longer feel limited? Most people, when they are in love, feel on top of the world and feel capable of doing much more than they used to be able to. The love they feel for someone in particularly motivates them greatly to be a better person. But then again, over time, this high energy of optimism might fade out. What if we learn to fill ourselves with the love for God? What would happen? We repeat, "I love you, God," in our hearts. Even if we don't fully grasp what that implies, we keep saying it until we are filled with cosmic love. What is cosmic love? It's the kind of love through which you feel in love with all of creation itself. It is vastly different than the love we normally experience only for specific individuals. Let us pray and follow the divine wisdom. Though I have committed many sins, some greater than others, as cosmic love arises within my soul, I shall not condemn the physical creation you have set in motion since the beginning of time any longer. No matter how hard times may get, I no longer shall devour and needlessly judge and attack my brothers and sisters that came forth from your cosmic soul. So this is what it's all about. If you can fill your consciousness with this kind of love, you will feel on top of the world every single day for the rest of your life, because God's love is infinite and will never run out. The idea is that you learn to fall in love with the source of all creation, and in that act you realize the unity you share with everyone and everything else. All of creation came from the same formless substance, as Wallace Wattles said. This formless substance is God, and the more we learn to love this fact and live by this awareness, the greater life becomes. Every time before I go to sleep at night, I say in my heart, "I love you, God," and I mean it. As I do so, I notice a strong reaction within the depths of my consciousness. I notice an increasingly growing sense of well-being, comfort, and love. That is how the universe responds to us, reaching out to it. So the universe, also known as God, does not necessarily force his love on us. This is another thing that might happen between humans. It does occur, and it can lead to highly tragic situations if a person forces themselves on another without the other person's consent. Well, God in his infinite wisdom obviously understands that. So instead, the spirit of the universe waits for us to reach out to it. We reach out in spirit and it will respond back to us in spirit, through the way we feel and think. So if I approach God from a state of love, then the response is love in return and a greater sense of being alive and one with the universe. Really, you should give it a shot. It cannot hurt to love God, that is the beauty. When you fall in love with a person, there is always a risk they might leave you either through death or a breakup. But when you fall in love with God, you have a divine partner that will not and cannot ever leave your side, because you are the offspring of his deathless soul. The more you love God, the greater and the more rapidly inspiration comes to you through which you can improve your physical life. You learn to treat others and mostly yourself in a better way and end up with better results automatically. This is all due to sensing and feeling the unity you share with everything else. If this unity lacks, which it sadly does for most people, it becomes easy to act out of line, to be upset, to act destructively towards others and our very self. Cosmic love is what your soul desires to experience, whether you realize it or not. Your soul knows it is of great importance to be in unity with the universe, and the best way to make this happen is by falling in love with this same universe. As I said earlier, perhaps the idea of falling in love with God seems strange. After all, you do not have a clear idea of what God is. Let's look at what generally happens when we fall in love with another person. They are on our minds 24/7. Whatever we seem to do, we think about them. We hold them close to us in our hearts. We feel loving kindness whenever thinking about them. We keep sending love towards them through the state of consciousness in which we dwell. Now turn this same process towards God. You might not have a clear idea about God, but what you can do is accept and embrace the cosmic unity we share, so we learn to think and feel how wonderful it is that all of creation truly came from the same source, how at a deep spiritual level we are all one with God and brothers and sisters in divinity. We feel loving kindness for this great majestic power that has brought all of creation into being. We keep sending love to the divine source of life in deep thankfulness. Thank you for giving me life, even though life isn't always easy physically speaking. I do love you with all my heart. If it wasn't for you, I could not seek out the beauty of this divine unity we share. O great and wonderful God. By practicing this, you will begin to understand that everyone you meet, whether they are being nice or rude, they're all on the same journey as you. They came from the same source, just like you, and they too will one day discover the unity they share with God, just like how you're becoming conscious of it increasingly more rapid. If we keep this firmly in our minds, then we can solve all conflicts with others. Sometimes we have to walk away from the negative if it is too much, but always we will walk with the Spirit of God within us, guiding us to greener pastures. We learn to forgive others and ourselves for what has gone wrong and still feel the divine infinite love flow through us that says, I will forgive you for what has happened, and it is my great hope that one day you too will experience the cosmic love that has existed since the beginning of time. By actively considering God as you go through your days, you will experience His cosmic love every day of your life, and that is what most people have been seeking, whether they can put it into words or not. So be sure to reach out to God through your own consciousness starting today. Keep saying you love God within your heart, no matter how silly it might feel. As you think carefully about the unity from which this whole universe came into being, including you and every other person around you, one cannot help but to eventually fall in love with God itself. For great is His wisdom and infinite is His love, that we may behold the glory that is in store for those that worship the cosmic God of infinite love. Now, if you're new to this channel, consider subscribing to receive inspirational videos on a regular basis. And with that being said, dear viewer, never forget that we are the dreamers.